Hey everybody, Jay the Fish Guy here, back again with another product unboxing and initial review. Today we're talking about a sump from IceCap. This is their so-called Reef Sump series. This is the 24-inch model. I got a client that's looking to do a new sump, skimmer, return pump, and an auto top-off. So today we're just going to simply talk about the sump. So let's get into the initial details that the information on the box tells us, and then we'll open it up and see what we got inside. Alright guys, so here we have the quick surmise, the details on the box of what this sump has to offer. Solid acrylic construction, that's kind of a no-brainer. The bubble diffusing intake chamber with lid. Basically what that means, and we'll go through it once I get it out of the box, but there's a chamber where the water comes down in, that the bubbles have a chance to dissipate, and then it goes up and over a wall, and then into the built-in 4-inch filter sock, which is a great way to do it. A lot of the companies are going this route with their new sumps, and I really like the design. The lid is handy as well because where the filter sock is probably one of the biggest areas for salt creep and bubbles and splashing, and if you watch my previous video of this upgrade for a client, you saw how damaging that salt creep can be. So anytime there's a lid in place, that really helps out to prevent any damage to things around the sump. Probe holder is nice if you end up going that route. There you got 3 of them built right in. Easy to access compartments. Obviously that's always a good idea, because if you can't service it easily, you're not going to, and then things start to build up over time, and then you start having issues. And a built-in 3-gallon freshwater reservoir. This is pretty nice. You know, it does take up in the sump space, but it's handy if space is at a premium and you can't fit a separate reservoir underneath your tank or in the area where the sump is going to be. So that's pretty cool, and I'll show you that once we get it out of the box. And it goes through all the dimensions of the various compartments. All this is available online when you buy it, so you can kind of measure things out if you know how big your skimmer is going to be and make sure that everything fits where it's supposed to. The adjustable water depth for the skimmer area is definitely a nice feature. You know, I tend to have to build little stands for skimmers to sit on, because you know, a lot of these companies, they've taken a long time to come around and really add all these kind of no-brainer features, or what I consider no-brainer for having used this kind of stuff for so long, right out of the box, to make it friendly for somebody to set up and get running without having to go, oh, the water's either too deep, not deep enough, whatever, now I have to figure something out for my skimmer. So the first step in that direction was a skimmer chamber that stayed at a constant water level. If you can believe it, not all sumps used to be that way. The skimmer chamber used to fluctuate, and that would throw your skimmer off day to day. So they finally figured that out, and that's kind of become standard practice now. So now having an adjustable water depth in your sump is even better, because some skimmers run more efficiently if they're a little deeper or a little more shallow. So without further ado, let's get this box open and see what we have inside. Alright guys, here we have it out of the box. Pretty sharp looking sump. The build quality is definitely there, just as good as any others I've ever used. A couple of things I note right off the bat that's different than what the box shows. So right on the front, this is pretty obvious. Nice big measurement right on the front here to let you know how deep the water height is in the skimmer chamber. Now, why is that important? Well, we just talked about how skimmers run better at certain depths of water. So a lot of times manufacturers now right out of the box will tell you the optimal depth of water that the skimmer should be put in. So this makes it super easy. You don't even have to take a tape measure out. It is just a sticker, so if you decide you want to remove it later, you can, if you don't want to look at that big ruler right on the front there. The other thing I'll note is in the back up top here. This is if you have a dosing system in place. So, you know, a lot of times with these dosing pump setups, you don't have a tubing holder right out of the box with those. That's a separate add-on that you have to buy. It's simple, it clamps on the back, it holds your tubing, but it's like another $15 or potentially more if you buy a nicer one, depending on the company. So the fact that this includes it right off the bat is great. You know, it's just one more bit of added value. So I'm gonna pick you up real quick and let's take a look at our different sections. So this is where your bulkhead will be, that the water goes into the sump here. This is your lid for the chamber there. You got your tubing. And this is where your filter sock goes, right down like that. Nice and tight, snug fit, and even sits down flush with the top of this. Sometimes they'll ride up a little bit higher, water is able to actually get around. So the idea is that the water comes in through here, goes down to this chamber. This is a solid wall back here. Let's see if I can show you. Oh, there we go. So the water goes in down here. The bubbles have a chance to dissipate. The water comes up and over this edge and is able to just drop right down into the filter sock. And then down at the bottom, you can see here, this is where the water will enter the skimmer chamber here in the middle. And then you have this plate back here with your thumb screws that you can adjust that up and down, and that's what controls the level of water inside this chamber. So this front chamber here, this section, this is your, what was it, 3.5 gallon reservoir. Has its own little lid to keep everything nice and sealed. There is, let's see if you can see it. There we go. This right here, that allows for your tubing from your auto top-off pump to go right in through there. So even with the lid in place, there's no anything coming out the top here. So your pump would go down in here. Your sensor for your water level would go back here, and that's your return pump chamber in the back. It is nice that they made this panel clear as opposed to a solid color, so you can look through and you can see what's going on in your back chamber here with your pump. So this is where your water level gets dictated as far as evaporation goes. So you would put your sensor somewhere in this neighborhood, as long as it's below the level of what your skimmer chamber is. All right, guys, so that does it for this unboxing and review. This was, again, the IceCap Reef Sump, specifically the 24-inch model. They do have, I believe, 6 different sizes depending on your needs. Anywhere up to, I think, 48-inch is the biggest one, and then they have 2 XL size that are bigger front to back. I'll post a link up in the description so you guys can check them out, check out the price points, and see what you think. Overall, 2 thumbs up as far as I'm concerned. You know, all these great features built in, stuff that should be considered standard nowadays that sadly a lot of manufacturers are not including. And they really should. I mean, we're at a level now, we're at a point now in the hobby that this kind of stuff is just should be standard on a lot of these reef sumps. So looking forward to getting this installed for the customer and seeing what I think down the road as time goes on. But compared to a lot of sumps I've used in the past, I think this is definitely going to be one of the better ones, and I'm pretty excited about it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.